Sì.
Scrivi ora.
Preso, devi fare preso. Ci sono 9 persone qui con noi. Ah, la Gisa! Ciao Gioia! Ce l'abbiamo fatta stavolta, eh?
Sì.
Brava!
Preparato tutto prima. Ho fatto no, stavolta non posso tardare.
C'è Amelia qui con noi, che poi mi traduce.
Brava, brava. Ciao, bella.
Sorry to interrupt in between. Amelia ma'am?
Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, actually live streaming has started now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Eccoci qua. Che belle queste immagini, ma da casa, ma Dio?
Sì, ci stanno dicendo che è già partita la registrazione, quindi ce l'hanno detto perché stiamo un attimo in silenzio e poi parte. No, poi parte alle 6 precise, però loro fanno le loro prove.
Ah, ok. Ariom, Ariom, Namaste, dear
Namaste.
friends, and Namaste to all the spiritual seekers. My name is Amelia Devi Rozzi, and tonight, on behalf of the European Yoga Federation and the United Consciousness, I'm very glad and honored to introduce to you our second online session about the Bhagavad Gita and the life management on the Bhagavad Gita. Tonight, our guest will be Amadeo Bianchi, Swami Suryananda Saraswati from Italy, who will introduce to us the story on the Mahabharata. And our special guest tonight as well, Dr. Vikramji Tomar Singh, who will talk to us tonight about the law of karma on the Bhagavad Gita. I'm very happy to start and enjoy this beautiful evening together, this beautiful session together. The talk will end with the question and answer part. So by the end of the session, if you do have some question, you may need to address directly to our special guest. So thank you, and then here we start. Thank you. So we will start directly with our Swami Suryananda Saraswati. Please, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you to all. Namaste to all. It's a great pleasure for me and honor for me too to speak about Mahabharata. So I start to speak in Italian. Avevamo lasciato Devavrata che stava tornando con la fanciulla figlia del pescatore, stava tornando e aveva fatto un voto di castità per permettere al figlio, diciamo, di questa fanciulla di poter essere il futuro re. Lui aveva fatto un voto di castità perché era il primogenito e sarebbe toccato a lui, e aveva assunto il nome di Bhisma e gli aveva detto alla fanciulla: d'ora in poi tu sarai mia madre.
So last session we end up with Devavrata, who did a vow to the fisherman daughter in order to allow her to get married with his own husband, his own father. And then we ended up the story, last week's story, with him saying to this woman, from now on you will be my mother.
La figlia del pescatore diede al re due figli, Chitrangada e Vichitravirya.
The fisherman's daughter gave the king two sons, Chitrandaga and Vichitravirya.
Chitrangada succedette al re Shantanu, ma venne ucciso in battaglia. Gli succedette Vichitravirya, affiancato dal valoroso Bhisma, cioè da ex Devavrata, per volere della regina Satyavati, il quale però non aveva moglie. Così Bhisma, preoccupato di evitare l'estinzione della dinastia, si impegnò per trovare una sposa al suo pupillo Vichitravirya.
Chitrangada succeeded the king Shantanu, but was killed in battle. Then was succeeded by Vichitravirya, who was flanked by the valiant Bhishma. At the behest of the queen Satyavati, who had no wife, so Bhishma, anxious to avoid the extinction of the dynasty, undertook to find a bride for his pupil.
Avendo saputo che il re di Kashi, che sarebbe l'attuale Benares, allora si chiamava così, si chiamava Kashi Benares, la ritroviamo appunto nel Mahabharata con questo nome, che avendo saputo che il re di Kashi aveva 3 bellissime figlie, Amba, Ambika e Ambalika, aveva indetto uno Svayamvara.
So, having learned that the king of Kashi, what we call nowadays Benares, he had 3 beautiful daughters, Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. They had what we call the Swayamvara.
Svayamvara si faceva nell'antichità, cioè si metteva in condizione le principesse di scegliere un marito, o lo si poteva fare anche per la figlia di un valoroso kshatriya, in un'assemblea pubblica di corteggiatori. A volte questo Svayamvara consisteva anche in un torneo guerresco dove i principi si misuravano.
The Svayamvara was an happening where the princess could choose a husband for herself, or even the princess or even the daughter of a valiant kshatriya. This was chosen during a public assembly of suitors, sometimes consisting also in a tournaments.
Sì, e si faceva questo tournament per fare notare ed eventualmente assegnare le sue 3 figlie in sposa ai principi destinati a essere i successori dei troni.
And this tournament was to point out, eventually to assign to his 3 daughters in marriage to the princess, who were destined to be the successor of the throne of Bhishma.
Bhishma, al momento opportuno, si impossessò delle 3 figlie e le spinse sul suo carro, allontanandosi velocemente, inseguito da tutti i principi oltraggiati e anche dal padre delle ragazze.
During this tournament, Bhishma, at the right time, took these 3 daughters and pushed them in the chart, and he moved quickly in order to get them, and he was followed and pursued by the princess, who felt outraged, and so they start to run after him.
Ma Bhishma ebbe ragione dei suoi inseguitori e le portò ad Hastinapura per offrirle in sposa al suo fratellastro Vicitravirya.
But Bhishma was much faster, and he managed to reach Hastinapur, and he offered these 3 girls in marriage to his half-brother, Vicitravirya.
Quando la data delle nozze fu stabilita, la maggiore delle 3 sorelle, Amba, disse che non poteva sposare Vicitravirya perché il suo cuore apparteneva al re di Shalva e che non poteva prendere in considerazione altri uomini che non fosse lui.
When the wedding date was set, for the eldest of the 3 sisters, Amba, she said that she could not marry Vicitravirya because her heart belonged to the king of the Shaiva, and that she could not consider other men other than him.
Bhishma accolse la sua richiesta e la mandò dal re di Shalva. Qui si aprirebbe una storia davvero commovente e patetica, particolare, che ha per oggetto la presenza di un guerriero nelle file dei presenti sul campo di battaglia della Bhagavad Gita di nome Shikhandin, che non vi racconto adesso per non confondervi, ma ve lo racconterò più avanti, poiché è molto interessante, molto coinvolgente. E poi questo guerriero lo troviamo sul campo di battaglia.
Bhishma granted his request to her and sent her to the king of Shalva. Now here, a very moving story could happen. So we could open the door to this major moving story. But being so important and so big, we will refer to it later as in order not to confuse you. But you have to know that we will find this major warrior in the battlefield of the Bhagavad Gita afterwards again.
Vichitravirya si sposò e per 7 anni visse felice con le sue 2 mogli, Ambika e Ambalika, fino a quando una malattia devastante lo portò alla morte.
Vichitravirya married, and for 7 years they lived happily with the 2 wives, Ambika and Ambalika, until a devastating illness led him to a death.
Egli, Vichitravirya, morì senza prole.
Vichitravirya died without offspring.
Sua madre Satyavati, preoccupata della continuazione della dinastia, si rivolse disperata a Bhisma affinché lui potesse dare dei figli alle vedove di Vichitravirya e allo stesso tempo perpetrare la continuazione della stirpe.
His mother, Satyavati, was very much worried about the continuation of the dynasty. She desperately turned to Bhisma so that he could give children to Vichitravirya's widow and at the same time continue the line.
Bhisma, avendo fatto il voto di celibato, si rifiutò categoricamente, affermando che non poteva infrangere nessun voto, poiché una volta pronunciato un voto vale in perpetuo.
Bhishma, having taken the vow of celibacy, refused categorically, stating that he could not break any vows because once he had taken a vow, it is valid forever.
Dopo tante riflessioni, Satyavati raccontò a Bhisma che anni addietro, quando aiutava suo padre a traghettare i viandanti, un passeggero, un eminente rishi, Parashara, durante l'attraversamento del fiume si invaghì di lei, la guardava con occhi appassionati e le diceva parole d'amore.
She was thinking, after many reflections, Satyavati told Bhisma that years before meeting his father, when he was helping his own, the fisherman, his own father, while he was ferrying the travelers from one shore to the other, an eminent rishi, Parashara, during the crossing of the river, felt in love with her. He looked at her with passionate eyes and said words of love.
Lei tremava di paura, aveva paura che lui la maledisse e nello stesso tempo paventava anche l'ira di suo padre se avesse saputo della sua condotta reprensibile.
She trembled in fear that he cursed her, and at the same time she also feared her father's anger if he knew of his reprehensible conduct.
Disse perciò al saggio in tono di scusa: mia madre era un pesce e quell'odore non mi abbandona mai.
So she said to the sage in a very apologetic tone, my mother was a fish, and that smell never leaves me.
Il saggio disse che conosceva la sua storia, sapeva che era stata concepita nel ventre di un pesce e gli promise che, grazie ai suoi magici poteri, avrebbe disperso il suo odore sostituendolo con un profumo che non sarebbe più svanito.
The wise man said that he knew his history. He knew that it had been conceived in the belly of a fish, and he promised her that thanks to his magical powers, he would disperse its smells by replacing it with a perfume that would never vanish again.
Per ricambiare questo favore, Satyavati si arrese agli amplessi del saggio dopo che il Rishi ebbe suscitato una nebbia nella quale rimasero avvolti e inosservati.
In order to return this favor, Satyavati surrendered herself to the embrace of the sage. And after the Rishi had arose a fog in which they remained shrouded and unnoticed.
Prima di andarsene, il saggio le disse: rimani su quell'isola e dai alla luce il tuo bambino. Non per questo perderai la tua verginità.
Before leaving, the sage told her, stay on that island and give birth to your child, so you will not lose your virginity.
Così nacque Vyasa. Egli è un saggio e un sapiente, mi ha promesso che sarebbe venuto a me ogni volta che avessi bisogno di lui. Posso evocarlo con il pensiero. In un certo senso egli è davvero il mio primogenito. Se tu approvi, lo convocherò.
So Vyasa was born. He is a very wise man. He promised me that he would come to me whenever I needed him. I can conjure him with thoughts. In a certain sense, he is indeed my firstborn. If you approve, I will convey him.
Bhisma lasciò la decisione alla madre, che pensò intensamente a Vyasa, così egli giunse all'istante.
Bhishma left the decision to his mother, who thought intensively of Vyasa. So Vyasa arrived immediately.
Satyavati raccontò a Vyasa la loro incresciosa situazione e lo supplicò di perpetuare la stirpe attraverso le sue nuore.
Satyavati told Vyasa of their unfortunate situation and begged him to perpetuate the line through his daughter-in-law.
Vyasa accondiscese, ma chiese un anno di tempo per rendersi presentabile, poiché stava vivendo in un periodo di penitenza e non si trovava nella migliore situazione per accostarsi a una donna.
Vyasa agreed, but he asked for a year to make himself presentable, as he was experiencing a period of penance and was not in the very best position to approach a woman.
Satyavati respinse le sue riserve e non gli lasciò alcuna scelta al riguardo, sicché Vyasa consentì e disse di preparare le donne. Quindi la regina Satyavati ordinò ad Ambika, la prima delle sue onore, di abbigliarsi adeguatamente e di attendere nella sua camera da letto.
Satyavati very much rejected his proposal and left him no choice. So Vyasa could just agree with that and said to prepare the woman. So the queen Satyavati ordered Ambika, the first of her daughter-in-law, to dress properly and wait in the bedroom.
Quando Vyasa le comparve davanti, la giovane rimase disgustata del suo aspetto, dei suoi abiti, della sua carnagione, del suo sudiciume, della sua testa irsuta.
When Vyasa appeared before her, the young woman was just disgusted with his appearance, his clothes, his complexion, his very filth, his very thin head.
Si coricò con lui, ma tenendo gli occhi chiusi.
He lay down with him, but she was keeping her eyes closed.
In seguito Vyasa disse a Satyavati: Ambika darà alla luce un bel bambino, governerà questo paese ma sarà cieco, poiché Ambika teneva gli occhi chiusi mentre veniva concepito.
Later, Vyasa told Satyavati, Ambika will for sure give birth to a child, to a beautiful child. He will rule his country, but he will be blind, because Ambika kept her eyes closed while she was conceived.
Senza indugio, Satyavati lo convocò la seconda volta e gli offerse Ambalika, l'altra sua nuora.
Without delay, Satyavati summed it for the second time and offered him Ambalika, her other daughter-in-law.
La fanciulla vestita e agghindata attendeva nel letto, ma quando Vyasa le si parò dinanzi, ella si fece bianca di paura.
The girl was so very beautifully dressed, and she was waiting in the bedroom. But when Vyasa appeared before her, she became white with fear.
In seguito Vyasa disse a Satyavati: il bambino che nascerà da Ambalika diventerà un uomo nobile e coraggioso, ma sarà molto pallido.
Later on, Vyasa told Satyavati, the child who will be born from Ambalika will become a noble and very courageous man, but he will be very pale.
Dopo aver scongiurato Vyasa di compiere una terza visita a Satyavati, convinse Ambalika a concedersi un'altra volta.
After pleading with Vyasa to make a third visit, Satyavati convinced Ambalika to indulge once again.
Quando Vyasa arrivò, Ambalika vestì la sua ancella in modo adeguato e la fece coricare nel letto al suo posto.
When Vyasa arrived, Ambalika had dressed her maiden properly in order to make her lie down in bed instead of her.
L'ancella si mostrò impetuosa e sensuale, Vyasa ne fu soddisfatto e perciò il bimbo che nacque da quel connubio fu normale.
The handmaiden showed herself impetuous and sensual, and Vyasa was satisfied, and therefore the child was born from this marriage was normal.
Ecco dunque a questo punto comparire i nomi dei principali protagonisti che ritroviamo anche nella Bhagavad Gita.
So at this point, therefore, the names of the main characters that we find also in the Bhagavad Gita start to appear.
Il primogenito, cieco dalla nascita, venne chiamato Dhritarashtra.
The first baby born, who was blind from birth, was called Dhritarashtra.
Il secondo nato molto pallido si chiamò Pandu.
The second born, who was very pale, was called Pandu.
Al terzo, nato dall'ancella, diedero il nome di Vidura.
The third one, the third born by the handmaid, he was given the name of Vidura.
La saggezza, il raziocinio, il coraggio espresso nei dialoghi hanno fatto di Vidura un personaggio di primo piano nel Mahabharata.
His wisdom, his right reasoning, and the courage expressed during the dialogues made him a very prominent figure in the Mahabharata.
Dhritarashtra crebbe sotto la guida del valoroso e saggio Bhisma, che a tempo debito gli trovò una sposa degna di lui.
Dhritarashtra grew up under the leadership of the valiant and wise Bhisma, who in due time found him a worthy wife.
la principessa Gandhari, dalla quale ebbe 100 figli, ma a causa della sua cecità dovette abdicare nei confronti di Pandu, il quale invece aveva 2 mogli, Kunti e Madri.
Her name, the name of his wife, was the Princess Gandhari, by whom he had 100 children. But because of his blindness, he had to abdicate for his brother Pandu, who instead had 2 wives, Kunti and Madri.
L'ascesa al trono di Pandu riscosse una generale approvazione ed egli dette prova di essere giusto e valoroso e accrebbe il suo potere e quello della dinastia dei Kuru, soggiogando anche alcuni regni che erano confinanti.
Pandu's ascension to the throne received a general approval, and Pandus proved to be very valiant, and this increased his power and that of the Kuru's dynasty by subjugating also some neighbor kingdom. At the end,
al termine delle sue imprese guerresche, Pandu si ritirò in una foresta sui declivi dell'Himalaya.
Finally, towards the end of these wars, Pandu retreated to a forest on the slopes of the Himalaya.
Un giorno, mentre era a caccia, uccise un cervo, questo cervo era impegnato nei giochi d'amore con la sua compagna.
One day, while he was hunted, he killed a deer, while he was engaged in love games with his own partner.
Prima di morire, il cervo, che in realtà era una creatura ultraterrena, gli lanciò una maledizione.
Before he died, the deer, which was actually an extraterrestrial creature, put a curse on him.
La tua fine, gli disse il cervo, sopravverrà nel momento in cui tu tenterai di unirti alla tua sposa.
So the deer told Pandu, your hand will come when you will try to join to your bride.
Così, anche senza averlo scelto, il re Pandu fu irrevocabilmente condannato al celibato.
So, even without having chosen that, King Pandu was condemned to celibacy.
In preda all'afflizione, meditava di rinunciare al mondo.
In affliction, he meditated on renouncing to the world.
Vivere senza prole, non poter più accostarsi alle sue mogli, era per lui insopportabile.
Keep on living without children, not being able to approach to his wives, was very much unbearable for him.
Fermiamoci pure qua perché il nostro tempo è per questa volta terminato. Vi ringrazio tanto della vostra pazienza, di avermi seguito fino qui e a poco alla volta vi racconterò un po' le storie di questi personaggi che poi ritroveremo sul campo di battaglia della Bhagavad Gita, perché la Bhagavad Gita è un racconto che si svolge in un campo di battaglia.
So for today, we end up with this story. I very much would like to thank you. In a due course of time, I would like to introduce you to the stories of all the characters, of the major characters that we will find in the Bhagavad Gita. As you know, the Bhagavad Gita is a story told on a battlefield.
Sapere le storie di questi personaggi ci avvicinerà molto di più ai protagonisti di questa splendida storia della Bhagavad Gita.
So knowing more about these characters, about this major protagonist of the story, will make us to understand much better and to get close to the story of the Bhagavad Gita.
Benissimo, lascio ora la parola al dottor Vikrant. Grazie.
So I would like to thank all of you, and now I will leave the space to dear Dr. Vikranji. So now, Dr. Vikranji, please, would you like to introduce to us the law of karma? Thank you very much, Swami Suryananda ji. I very much appreciated this beautiful and interesting story. And now we go to our Bhagavad Gita with all the suggestions made alive to us for helping us on our everyday life, how Bhagavad Gita can be very much appreciated and helpful to guide us on our everyday life and problems maybe. So Dr. Vikranji, how can Bhagavad Gita can help us?
Thank you, Amelia ji. Thank you, respected Swami ji. And welcome, dear friends. We are going to talk about a very interesting topic today, that is law of karma. But before I go in this topic, I want you to think about question number one. Think about this question. Did you ever have this question in your life? Why I did not get what I deserve in life? Have you ever encountered this question? If yes, raise your hand. That I think that I did not deserve. I did not get what I deserve in life. Maybe in personal life or maybe in professional life. If you can relate with this question, or if this question came to you ever, think about it. Now the second question, think about this question also. Have you ever said, why me, God? Why this happened to me? There are so many people, but this happened to only me. Why? Something bad happened and we felt so bad about it. I lost my father when I was very young. I had this question, why me, God? What I have done to deserve this? Have you ever asked this question? Why me? Why it happened to me? Raise your hands. If you have ever encountered this question. Perfect. Now these two questions, remember while we are discussing whole concept of law of karma. Now I'm going to give you a couple of situations and I want you to think about those situations. Think about a suffering you think you did not deserve, but still you went through it. Think about a suffering which you think you did not deserve, but still you had to go through it. Could you think of anything? Just close your eyes and let something pop up. You don't need to think more about it. Just let it pop up. A suffering. Let that image pop up in your mind. Thank you. Next situation. Think about one of the very important person in your life right now, but that person should not be any blood relative. Think about any person who is most important or very important to you in your life right now, but he is not your blood relative. Now, think about how did you first meet that person? Was it a coincidence? You met a person for the first time someday, some years back, and that person today is one of the most important person of life. How does people come and meet to each other? Think about that situation also. Could you think of anything? A person who is in your life right now, very important. Think about when you first met to that person. Could you think of him or her? Perfect. Now my last point. Think about, do you have any unexplained pain in your body? Any pain which is not medically cannot be explained. Unexplained pain in the body. Any itching, discomfort. You can't explain why it is so. Could you think of anybody else also? Perfect. Did you ever felt this called deja vu? This has happened before. We have met before. Same situation has happened before. Did you ever felt this deja vu? Raise your hands. I promise all of you, today, in next 20 minutes, you'll get answer to all these things, all these questions that we encountered in our life. So let's begin. Law of karma. I'll connect it with where we stopped in the last session. We discussed about karma yoga. So what is karma? What is action? Karma is any thought, feeling, word, or action is karma. Any thought comes to your mind is karma. The moment you speak a word is karma. Any action you do is karma. Any feeling you have is karma. So whenever you do a karma, what you get is karma phala, result of that action. You speak nice to somebody, another person will smile back to you. Karma phala. You abuse another person, he'll slap. Karma phala. The result of those actions. Fine. So that is called karma phala. Now this karma phala is of two types. Visible and invisible. Visible karma phala is something that you can see. The cause and effect. Where you can see cause and effect between your karma and karma phala is called visible karma phala. Like, you study hard, you get success in life. In academics, you get success in college, good marks. Visible karma phala. You were careless while you were driving. You met with an accident. Visible karma phala. You are performing very good in your job. You got increments, promotions. Visible karma phala. But another type of karma phala is invisible karma phala. Invisible. You don't see. What is invisible karma phala? Where you can't see direct cause and effect relationship. Why Dhritarashtra was born blind? As Swamiji was narrating a beautiful story. Dhritarashtra's mother, while mating, closed her eyes out of fear. But Dhritarashtra was born blind. What was his mistake in that? He couldn't make out invisible karma phala. I don't know. Fine. Like for example, somebody is born at Elon Musk family. Somebody is born at a beggar's family. So why somebody is son of Elon Musk and another person is son of a beggar? Don't know. Invisible karma phala. You can't make out. Now this invisible karma phala is of two types. Fine. Invisible karma phala is of two types. First is called punyam. Punyam. Second is called papam. Papam. Punyam means punyam. P-U-N-Y-A-M. Punyam. Punyam means invisible positive returns of your good deeds. Invisible positive returns of your good deeds. Something good happened to you. You don't know why it happened. Like for example, you got an excellent mother and father, extremely loving and caring. You did nothing to deserve to have them, but you were born by chance in such a family. So it is an invisible positive returns of your good deeds. You don't know the cause and effect. It's like debit card. Sometime back, you did a good deed in spite of all difficulties. You suffered also, but still you were good. And today you are enjoying. So you suffer today and you enjoy later is called debit card. But another is papam. Papam is sin. Invisible negative returns of the wrong deeds. It is like credit card. You enjoy now and suffer later. Fine, it's like credit card. So wherever, whatever we do, let me give you a small anecdote in that. There was a farmer, his name was Fleming. This farmer found a child almost drowning in a pond. He jumped into the water lake and pond and saved the life of that child. He didn't know who the child was. Child was so happy. Child did not even thank that farmer and went away. He did a good deed, but he was not even thanked for that. Later on, a very rich and famous person of that community in a big vehicle reached to this farmer's place. Farmer was taken aback why such a rich and famous person came to him. Later on, he realized that that boy was his son, that noble person's son. That noble person said that I am grateful that you safeguarded my son's life. What I can do for you? This farmer said, I did it in a good way, good motive. I didn't want any returns. That's fine. That's okay. Anybody would have done it. But then this nobleman requested, okay, fine. If you don't want anything from me, can you permit me to take care of your son? I want to make your son educated. Farmer was okay with it because his son was in village. He wanted his son to get proper education. So this nobleman started taking care and properly educating the son of this farmer. Such a beautiful story. And this boy, farmer's son, became highly qualified person in the later years of his life. But story is not still over. Look how law of karma works. This son of the nobleman rose up to be a great politician. And all of you know that politician. His name is Churchill. And then Churchill, this nobleman's son, became Churchill. Churchill got sick by pneumonia. And there was no medicine at all of pneumonia. He could have died out of it. But then this farmer's son, who rose to become a great scientist called the Sir Alexander Fleming, invented penicillin. And that penicillin again saved life of Churchill twice. So see how law of karma works. Swami Vivekananda used to say, good, good, bad, bad, none escape the law. Jesus says when you do good deeds and you don't get returns of it, nobody knows even about your good deeds. Remember, those good deeds are counted. But if everybody knows about it and out of your good deeds you are very famous, it means everything is given back to you. Now it is not getting deposited anywhere because you got famous out of your good deeds. So don't expect any other returns from this good deeds because your good deeds gave you visible returns right now. Jesus always used to say, do good deeds and forget about it. Don't share with anybody. Keep mum. Keep on doing good. What he meant is, it will be added into your invisible account. And that invisible account of good and bad deeds together, accumulated account, is called accumulated karma. In Sanskrit, it is called sanchit karma. Sanchit karma, accumulated account of karma. It has both invisible punyam and papam. It is called invisible variable. Fine. Sanchit karma. So we knew about karma, Karma phala, papam, punyam, sanchit karma. Now, a part of this accumulated karma that we have been doing manifests in this life also. Accumulated karma of so many past lives will get manifested in this life. And whatever get manifested in this life is called situation, choiceless situation. This choiceless situation of this life is called prarabdha. Prarabdha. So what is prarabdha, or the situations around me? Like, for example, I'm being born in a very good family. It's a choiceless situation. Nobody asked me. I've got excellent parents. Choiceless situation. Nobody asked me before it. So many good situations we have. It is getting manifestation of some good sanchit karmas. Fine. Otherwise, getting a very difficult boss, trapped into a very difficult relationship, being born in a very quarrelsome family. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 41 to 45 talks about it. Lord Krishna says, when you do good deeds, you will be born in the house and the family of noble people, so that you can continue your journey of goodness furthermore. Our present is the fruit of past, and our future will be the fruit of our present. In Gita chapter 4 verse 5, Lord Krishna says, Arjun, you and me have lived before. The only difference is you forgot, but I still remember that we have lived before. And that's why in chapter 11 verse 31, when Arjuna is reluctant to kill his blood relatives, Krishna says, chapter 11 verse 31, Arjuna, these people are already dead. You just do your role. You just do your karma. They are already dead. I have already killed them. It means their destiny and fate is already decided, that they are going to be killed by you or anybody else. So don't make yourself that important that everything is happening because of you. And then what happens is, this situation, then it comes to you. How do you respond to that situation is called purushartha. Purushartha. My response to a situation, utilizing my free will, how will I like to utilize this situation, is called purushartha. So purushartha again is karma. Chapter 2 verse 47 again says, karmani ev adhikaraste. You have only authority to the karma, not to the situation, because situation is coming from a very deep account, accumulated account. And this karma, which I am doing today, you are attending this class, is called kriyaman karma. Kriyaman karma. Kriyaman karma. Or purushartha, they are same thing. Or karma. Karma, kriyaman karma, purushartha, they are same. So this is a complete cycle. See, karma, karma phala, visible, invisible, visible punyam, papam, both together, sanchit karma. Sanchit karma manifest in present life is called prarabdha, situation. Situation, how do I deal with it, is called purushartha. Purushartha is kriyaman karma. And kriyaman karma again makes karma, and karma again yields karma phala. So this is what is called cycle of karma. And this is how it works. So in the law of karma, there are three factors. First, karma, which I do, purushartha or kriyaman karma. Second, prarabdha, the situations that comes to me, what is seen in front of me. Third is sanchit karma, invisible variables, the bigger picture. Think about your life. These three things contribute in any karma phala. Whatever results you got in your life, you will find these three variables. Your efforts, that is your purushartha, karma, kriyaman karma. Second, a situation, a difficult situation that came to you is prarabdha. And third, invisible factors. They also applied. And then finally, you got your results, whatever your results are. So why all this drama? What is the reason behind this drama? The reason of this drama is me, I want permanent peace and happiness. But how will I get permanent peace and happiness? So there are two instruments. First, I may take impermanent instruments. When the instrument itself is not permanent, how can I get permanent peace from that? What are those instruments? Relationships, job, house, people around. All these are temporary. Temporary things can never give permanent peace and happiness. So what is important? Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 24 says, people who worship demigods remain in the trap. Today they fell in love with a person. They are very happy. Tomorrow the same person is giving them pain. Today they are making a house, they are happy. Tomorrow that house gets dismantled, they are in pain. So we need to go for permanent instruments. And what is that permanent instrument? That is learning this Vedic wisdom, which help us to understand our true nature. And we improve upon 6 fundamental illness in us. What are those 6 fundamental illness in us? First, kama, lust. Second, anger. Third, greed. Fourth, arrogance. Fifth, delusion. Sixth, jealousy. These 6 things we need to improve in ourselves. Anybody who is above these 6 problems will get permanent happiness. So, how should we see life? See, Earth is a university. Peace and happiness is a degree we want. These 6 illnesses, weaknesses, are 6 semesters of that degree. And every difficult situation that comes to us is a test paper. When a person comes and irritates you, he is trying to check, can you control your anger? And if you fail, lifelong this pattern will repeat. You will keep on finding such people in your life who will irritate you. But the moment you learn through it, you clear the test paper, you will never find any person who will irritate you. So whatever is your fundamental weakness, lust, anger, greed, arrogance, delusion, or jealousy, the same situation will keep on coming to you till you don't clear the test paper. And what are the laboratories? Our house, office, fields, these are laboratories in that university of life. Who are the practical teachers? Our bosses, relatives, intimate relationships. They are our teachers. They are there to teach us. So we understand by this that, and we get many infinite chances to improve, because it is so easy to listen and understand, but it is so difficult to live. And that's why we get many chances. And every chance is called a birth. Every chance is called birth. Universe is so infinitely compassionate that nobody judges you here. Law of karma is not a punishment system. You do good, good will come back to you. You do bad, bad will come back to you. It's not a punishment system. It's a system. It's an educational tool so that we can improve and start removing our impurities. we are not condemned for our karmas. We will be given another opportunity because universe is full of compassion. And that another opportunity is called different births, 84 lakh yonis. So Mother Nature is caring, unconditionally loving. We suffer because we do not see the truth. That, what is the truth? That we are divine beings having human experience, not human beings having divine experience. So after having understood this, what should I do now? Okay, fine, this is good. But what should I do from tomorrow? First, remain aware of what is temporary and what is permanent. See, look around. And remember this, whatever is temporary can never give permanent peace, period. This is first thing. Wear specs, glasses, which can tell us what is temporary, what is permanent. And second, remember that temporary can never give permanent happiness. Third, see critical people or situations just as test papers. They have come to test me whether am I elevating or not. If it is not reflecting in your behavior, you are not there. There are no theories in this. It has to reflect in your behavior at that moment of truth. So instead of getting irritated on the people who are irritating us, just start respecting them as the teachers who are showing us mirror that you are yet not there. Fine. Fourth, forgive others because they are also in their journey of life. They are also in their journey of life. They are not taken birth to just give you pain. They have their own journey of life, and by chance, our journey of life is going together in this manner so that we can learn from each other. Fifth, never judge others. Never judge others. Why? Because you don't know enough about them. Because their journey is not only of this life, it's been for lifetimes. Because you don't know them enough, don't judge them. Generally, one mistake we do, we judge others on the basis of traits, good, bad, ugly, selfish, arrogant, proud. But when it comes to us, we judge ourselves on the basis of situations. What to do? My situations of life was like this. So we judge self on situations, others on traits. And that is a mistake we do. That's right, not judge others. Sixth, accept situations as it is. Point number 4 was forgive others because they are also on their own journey of life. Fifth is never judge others. Sixth is accept situations as it is because they are prarabdha. You can't change it. You can just respond to it. Seventh, assure righteousness of action. Do right deeds. That becomes punyam. And eighth and the last, see unity in diversity, as Swamiji says. That is called Advaita. Advaita, oneness. There is oneness in all of us. So let's conclude what we discussed today. We discussed today that, yes, lots of situations in our life comes because of our karma. Karma, when any thought, feeling, words, and action is called karma. Karma leads to karma phala, that is the result of action. The results of action are twofold, visible and invisible. Visible means where you can see cause and effect. Invisible, where you can't see cause and effect. Invisible karma effect is called punyam or papam. Punyam means invisible positive returns of good deeds. It's like debit card. You suffer now and enjoy later, but invisible negative returns of your wrong deeds is called papam. That is like credit card. You enjoy now and suffer later. These together makes it invisible variable that is called accumulated karma or adrashya karaka or sanchit karma. This accumulated karma or sanchit karma, part of which gets manifested in this life in terms of situations. All the choiceless situations, like where we are born, destiny, on all those things you call it. in how do you respond to that situation is called Purushartha or Kriyaman Karma, my response to the situation utilizing my free will. And that again adds to the karma and the cycle continues. So next, what is whole drama? I need permanent peace and happiness, but impermanent instruments can never give me peace and happiness permanently. So I need to go for permanent instruments. And those, what is permanent instrument? Right knowledge, a knowledge which will help me to go above lust, anger, greed, arrogance, delusion, and jealousy. So once I will elevate in that, certainly I will get permanent peace and happiness. Earth is a university, peace is the degree. 6 illness are 6 semesters, difficult situations are test papers, offices, fields, and houses are just laboratories. So what is to be done then? We need to remember that the universe is infinitely compassionate. Nobody judges you. Law of karma is not a punishment system. It's an educational tool to improve and remove impurities. We are not condemned by karma. We are given another opportunity. So what should we do? Remember that we are divine beings having human experience. We are not human beings with divine experience. So what are the 7 steps, the 8 steps that I should take from now? First, remain aware of what is temporary and what is permanent. Second, temporary can't give permanent happiness. Third, see critical people situations just as papers and tests. Fourth, forgive others as they are also on their journey. Fifth, never judge others. Sixth, accept situations as it is. Seventh, assure righteousness in your action. And eighth, see unity in diversity. Thank you very much. We are open for questions now. Anybody, any question, they can switch on the mic and camera also, and they can put any question, and anybody can answer that. Yes, please. Yes, please. Waldemarji. Please, you may need to unmute. You can unmute yourself. You can't? Vosen, can you help? Amelia ji, can't you unmute yourself? She can.
Yes, I can.
Waldemar ji, can you unmute yourself? Just click on the mute button. Anybody else, please try to see, can you unmute yourself? How come everybody can't unmute themselves? Vosen?
Yes.
Now see, please.
Okay, I can unmute. But somebody wrote they're not able to unmute.
I am able to unmute myself.
Somebody can go in the list of the participants and go to open.
Now I did
okay.
it.
Yes, Waldemarji, carry on. Yeah.
My question is, why some enlightened beings or teachers have a terrible life? Sometimes they go through very difficult situations.
Why good people go through difficult situations? This is the question, Waldemarji?
Yeah, so many teachers, many enlightened teachers, yes. They had a terrible life. They overcame terrible difficulties.
That's a beautiful question. Look, when we talk about some enlightened masters like Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he had a very difficult throat cancer kind of disease. And his throat used to pain like anything. He used to be in great pain and misery. So this is the question that Swami Vivekananda also used to ask him when Vivekananda was actually Narendra. So Narendra used to say that, Swamiji, you are such an enlightened being. Why God is making you suffer like anything? And listen to the answer what Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa gave. He said, Narendra, suffering and pain are two different things. Pain belongs to the body. Suffering belongs to the mind. So my body has pain, that is a fact. But I have no suffering. It is also the fact. This body is governed by the law of physics. So if there is something wrong in my diet, it will have its own effect. But my soul is governed by universal intelligence. So I have no suffering. I may have physical pain. And then he used to say, this body has to decay in some or the other manner. This body is decaying. And once this body decays, I will be out of this body. So this pain does not belong to me. It belongs to the body. And I am not suffering. These people, like Swami Dayananda, a direct disciple of Swami Chinmayananda, he lost one of his very close friends, extremely close. He started crying. He started crying. And then people used to think that you are such an elevated master. You are crying. But then what happened is, after 1 hour, he had a class. And Valdemarji, the moment he started taking class, he was taking class such a furious manner, such an interesting, hilarious, laughing, cracking jokes, and like he used to. And once the class is over, he goes in his room, again he cries. So he has that great mental balance in himself, that he is not instruments in the hand of emotions. He let the emotions flow. He has complete command over it. So these masters, they never suffer, but we see, because we call it suffering, but these masters understand what belongs to the body goes to the body, what belongs to the Supreme goes to the Supreme, and they are different. Jesus was once asked, somebody wanted to trap Jesus. So he said, what do you think? Should we pay tax to the king or not? Because Jesus was saying that materialism is useless. So somebody asked, should we pay tax to the king? Jesus so smartly replied, because during those days on coins, photograph of the picture of the king used to be there, stamped on the coins. So Jesus said, what belongs to the king should be given to the king. And what belongs to the God should be given to the God. So this body belongs to the physical things. Let it take care of it. The soul belongs to Supreme. Let's focus on that. Have I answered you, Valdemarji?
Yes.
Thank you. Any other question, anybody? Yes, please. Valdemarji, if everybody can mention from where they are talking. I know Valdemarji is from New York. Adrian, can you unmute? Acha, he can't unmute. Mohsin, can you help? Till let me take Madhulika ji question. You can write the question here also, chat box. I will read from here. How do I check that my response to a situation is good or bad? How do I check that whether my response to the situation is good or bad? I told you 4 things that we need to remember. 1, have I done that thing with right intention? 2, is it in the interest of majority or only in my selfish interest? 3, will its long-term results be good? 4th, is it sustainable? If everybody in this situation will do this, can world sustain? If answers of all 4 questions are yes, whatever you're doing is correct. Next question. I hope that answers Madhulika ji. Kubuk madam said that, so is it correct to say doing right deeds or pay forward with unconditional intent brings out happiness? Yes. Answer is big yes. Doing right deeds or pay forward with unconditional intent brings us happiness, because pain comes with desires. The moment while taking this session, I will start desiring that everybody should understand what I am saying, I will certainly be in a miserable situation after the session, because there are language issues with me, there are time constraints, so many things are there. So I can't control. So whenever I will stress, or I will put my happiness on something which I can't control, I will be miserable. I repeat, whenever I will depend my happiness on something which I can't control, I will be miserable, period. See, wherever you are miserable, apply this formula, you will get it. So answer is yes, Madam Kubuk. I hope that answers the question. Adrian said that, what was the initial primal action that started it all? I have heard that the souls are ageless. And how can we have old souls? Perfect. Good question. It is two questions. Yes, souls are ever aging, but never old, Adrian. Fine. So what do we mean by old soul? It's just a word that we use for a matured soul. Fine. Like, for example, if a person is very mature in his approach towards life, we call he's an old soul. He's a divine soul. He's a young soul. He's an infant soul. So for our understanding, we call them. Now let me be very precise. A soul which has incarnated in human recently, like we all know that we were monkeys, thanks to Charles Darwin, that at least scientifically now we know this. So we all were monkeys. So if we have incarnated as human recently, then we will have many animalistic qualities in us. Like what? Sleeping for long, extreme interest in sexual intercourse, amazing interest in eating, fine, extreme arrogance in behavior. What is these? You see animal and you see human like this? Fine. But if a person is very aloof from these things, you will understand that it's been thousands of births as human he has taken. So we say, okay, he's an old soul. Have I answered you, Adrian? And your first question to that. What was the primal action that started it all? The same question was asked by Swami Vivekananda also. And Swami Vivekananda beautifully replied, we don't know. And I will bag his question in the reply. We don't know. Fine. How did all this started? We don't know. But yes, we know what should we do today. We have that answers. How can we uplift ourselves? What was the first action? Who did the first action? We don't know how it started. Have I answered you, Edwin? Perfect. Any moment, Swamiji, even you can add if you want any moment. Any other question, anybody? Okay. Perfect. Can people unmute themselves or they can't? Please, Malin, people can unmute. Yes. Okay. 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 Perfect. So if there are no questions, there are generally 4 reasons for no questions. Reason number 1, yes. Reason number 1, everything is clear. Reason number 2, nothing is clear. Reason number 3, nobody can unmute themselves.
At the moment, reason number 3, I guess. They're writing in the chat.
Can't unmute. That's interesting. AJ, can you write question if you have any? Okay, or anybody has any question, they can write. But that's pretty interesting why people can't unmute themselves. Okay. Kailash Joshi ji, could you unmute yourself?
Yes, this time I could.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Perfect. Yes, people can unmute themselves right now. That's okay. Yes.
Dr. Tomar, Aditya here from
Yes.
Dubai.
Yes, please.
So, Dr. Tomar, I've been reading a book by Bhagat Singh, Why I'm an Atheist. And in that book, he's written one sentence about, it says that whosoever undergoes sufferings in this life must have been a sinner in his previous birth. It is tantamount to saying that those who are oppressors now were godly people then in their previous births. So how correct is this, and how do we see this?
Perfect. First thing is, I am listening my voice again back. Okay. People who are suffering in this life, when we say suffering, I repeat, we are suffering not because of the situation. We are suffering because we are not learning from the situation. We cannot blame a situation for our suffering. In the same traffic jam, some people are smiling, laughing, enjoying their life. In the same traffic jam, some people are suffering. So we can't blame situations for that. So if somebody is suffering in this life, and it means that that person has done something wrong in past lives, those situations that have come, which are very critical, certainly those situations may have come from their own sanchit karma. But those situations can never guarantee that the person will suffer. No, I have complete command on my kriyaman karma. Yes, bad situations came to my life, but I walked over it smiling. This is what is my determination. So law of karma says that you have complete hold of your life in your hand. Your present comes from your past, but your future comes from your present. So let's make future beautiful. That is in our hand. So that point that we are suffering because of the past deeds, no. The right thing is situations have come because of the past deeds. That's correct. But suffering is happening because of misunderstanding, wrong apprehension. Have I answered you?
Yes, Dr. Tomar, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can I ask?
Yes, from where are you?
I'm from California.
Please carry on.
So if situations have come from the past, our mind also is from the past. So the way we handle the situations also will be the same, and we suffer the same then.
What you said, Annapurna ji, is called patterns. Yes. Our mind has come from the past, but in every life is an opportunity to reprogram it. Like you are attending this session to reprogram it. Fine. But if we fail to program and utilize this opportunity, then it's our problem. Like, for example, right now I'm in Delhi. It's a big multi-story building with 30 floors in there. So I'm sitting at 15th floor. So the moment I entered into the elevator, I pressed on 15. Another fellow entered into the elevator. He fled. He pressed 5. So what happened is I was looking at him and I was thinking something. Suddenly, lift got open. He went out. I also followed him and I also went out. I forgot that I was to go to 15th floor. It is his destination, not mine. And this is what we do. And then I have to come back to the lift and go ahead. This is what we do. We start looking at our spouse, at our kids, at our them, and then we go to their platforms. It's not our platform. We have our own destination, isn't it? So at times, by looking at each other, we forgot what was actually our destination. And this is the purpose of this life. At the end of this life, we will realize what I realized today, that my destination was somewhere else. And I again has to board. And the reboarding is called rebirth. So let's not waste it. Let's program our mind immediately, right now. Have I answered you?
Yes, kind of. So, see, when I'm going through the situation, I always feel there is no solution. This is the way it is, and this is the way I have to like suffer or be happy or whatever it is. This is the way it is. But how, like, if I listen to something, then I feel that, oh, there is something. But that opportunity is there, but me going to that opportunity is very rare. So, is that also part of destiny? That
No, it's not.
And how will I
only situation is the part of destiny. I repeat again, only situation is the part of destiny. My response is a part of Purushartha. So difficult situations will come as Prarabdha. How will I deal with it? Is my Purushartha. And that makes life worth living. That makes life beautiful. Same difficult situation will come to two people. One will convert that problem, that obstacle into opportunity, and another person will live in that obstacle throughout the life. It's a choice. We were born by... Yes?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you carry on.
So that choice comes only when I hear to something that I feel that I have a choice. Otherwise, I don't even know that I have a choice.
It means you need to do 4 things in your life. First, have a master in your life who will tell you how can you deal with it. Fine. Second, read those books which will help you to enhance yourself. Third, attend satsangas where you can interact with those people who comes from higher vibrations. And last is do meditation. Do these 4 things. You will automatically get rid of these situations.
Thank you.
Perfect. Anybody else? Yes, please, Malin.
Yes. Hi, I'm from Sweden.
Yeah.
Malin. And Malin is also my name, my yoga name. I have a question. We talk about karma for individual people, but can we talk about karma also for country, for this planet Earth? Because I think the karma can't only be for the human beings, because we think all the time that we shall solve everything, but I think universe will solve more than we can even imagine. And I'm thinking especially of this pandemic situation all over the world, and a lot of people are dying, and I don't think it's their karma really that they are supposed to die. Really, I don't think so.
Something called, first thing we need to be very clear about is death is not a problem. It's as simple as birth. Fine. Because we are so much attached, that's why we say dying is bad. No, it's not. It's just like birth. It is another fact. Fine. But during birth and death, we become so much attached. That's why we find death is painful for people who are alive. But the people who depart from the body, if you connect with them, they will tell you they are fine. Fine. The problem is of the people who are here. And that's why we feel that, oh, it's so miserable that somebody died. He went for his own journey of life. So first, we need to be very clear about it. Second, in this pandemic, is there something called national karmas? Is there something called planetary karmas? Yes, there is, like, for example, national psychology. Individual psychology, there is a national psychology. Similarly, there is a planetary psychology, and our planetary psychology is, let's destroy this planet together, exploit it, isn't it? This is the planetary psychology of this earth then. This is what you call global warming, isn't it? So it's unfortunate. Majority of the people who are affluent, they are doing some things which are harming this planet. And why this pandemic?
Posso aggiungere una cosa, Dr. Vikram? Can I?
Sure, Swamiji.
Okay. Il più grande motivo di sofferenza è sempre per questa cultura l'ignoranza, avidia.
The first reason for suffering is, first of all, avidya, not knowledge.
Per esempio, abbiamo nominato una volta in più questo Covid, anche lasciar focalizzare la mente sul negativo della situazione è molto dannoso per noi e non riuscire a vedere il positivo.
And once again, we mentioned COVID, for instance. One of the first response that sometimes we have, which can be dangerous, is a negative response. So we just look at the negative part of it. But as a matter of fact, we can look to a positive part of it.
Per esempio, personalmente, ma penso che sia successo anche a voi, il Covid ci ha fatto un grande regalo.
For instance, I must admit, and probably it happened to many of you, COVID made a present, gave a gift to us too.
Innanzitutto ha risvegliato in noi delle riflessioni.
First of all, he awakened in ourselves some answer.
Ci ha regalato del tempo per meditare, per andare più a fondo.
He allowed us to have time to have more time for meditation and to go deep into some situations.
Ci ha fatto comprendere che l'uomo stava sbagliando gli obiettivi della sua vita.
He allowed us to understand that mankind was going into the wrong direction and was looking for wrong answer.
Aveva messo il lavoro come primo obiettivo della vita.
And mankind was putting and referring to work, to job, as the first priority in life.
E ci ha fatto capire invece quanto importante era la salute.
And instead allowed us to understand how important is health.
Cioè l'ignoranza di aver sbagliato una scelta si è ottenebrata perché abbiamo capito quanto è importante la salute.
So the ignorance allowed us to see how important is health.
E se cambiamo obiettivi e mettiamo la salute, intendo salute fisica, psicologica, spirituale, in primo piano, cambierà completamente il nostro atteggiamento e dovremo anche ringraziare il Covid che ci ha portato verso questa direzione.
And if we start to change and swap the idea and we put health to the first position, what I mean for health, I mean physical health, body health, mind, deep spiritual health. And then if I decide that this health, very complete health, is at the first position, then everything in life will change.
Questa è l'occasione giusta per fare questo cambiamento e avere capito queste cose ci può dare un'immensa gioia.
So this is a great opportunity for us. Looking at this point and looking and start to change the position of how we look at things can allow us to start to become happy.
Questo per dirvi come quando noi guardiamo malamente le cose siamo nello stato dell'ignoranza. Quando guardiamo l'aspetto positivo e della crescita, questo ci dà la forza anche di sostenere e superare le difficoltà.
This to say that when we look at the negative side, at the bad side of it, this is ignorance that does not allow us to make things creative. But when we look to a positive way, we start to become creative and we start to be on a way that we realize that things are not bad, are just things.
Grazie molte.
Perfect,
Thank you.
Swamiji. Thank you
very much.
And as Swamiji rightly said, it's avidya. When we realize it's just a game that is going on, one fine day it will be over and we'll restart. So there is nothing to be taken seriously other than our own elevation. spiritual elevation. And this is what is the purpose of our being here. Other than all these laboratories are too temporary. So I always say we are too temporary to have permanent problems in life. We are really too temporary to have permanent problems. So I don't know, Melin, could we answer your question or what?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
And last question that Kubuk madam has raised, that at the beginning of the universe, when there were few people or souls, from where all these people are coming? Interesting question. How more souls are getting created? So Krishna in Gita specifically says that I am there in every being on this planet. My presence is there in mountains, trees, animals, every being. Wherever you see anything, you know I am there. When he say I am there, Krishna means not a person Krishna, not Mr. Krishna. It's all pervasive consciousness. The consciousness that gets manifested in every particular form. So yes, number of people are increasing, maybe number of ants are decreasing. So the point here is even ant, animal, all trees, it's a ladder from mineral kingdom to plant kingdom, to animal kingdom, to human kingdom. A monkey became human, a monkey got reduced, and a human was evolved. Similarly, if you see in total, so many species are there we are not even aware of. There are some species which are beneath this ground. Billions of species are still undiscovered. So number of souls are increasing as human beings population is increasing. It's just like a soul of human being and a soul of ant is equal. Evolution, like for example, a hard disk, of empty hard disk weight and a filled hard disk weight, they're equal in weight. A blank CD and an empty CD and a filled CD, they have equal in weight. So human beings is a filled CD, lots of intelligence, but the soul is equal. We have equal soul. The depth and the maturity of soul varies. So every being has a soul. So in that way, I hope that answers the question. It's not only about human beings. And even if the question is not answered, we can take it later in the next session. Next session, we will continue with the story of Mahabharata from our respected Swamiji. And I will be talking about Upasana Yoga, another important facet of Bhagavad Gita. So looking forward to meet you again next week, same time, same day, Saturday. Thank you, Amelia ji. Thank you, Ami ji. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Namaste.